You ever find yourself going through various online retailers looking at certain items that pique your interest, and then you come across two items that look very suspiciously similar? Well, I got two that look very suspiciously similar here. I got a Maxam survival knife and I got a Gordon Harbor Freight survival knife. Now, they look identical, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were made in the exact same factory. But other than you can see that the handles look different, there are differences between these knives. Now, the biggest difference that I noticed almost immediately is that the Harbor Freight knife, I don't know if this is going to come over very well on camera, is thinner than the Maxam knife. I don't know if that comes through on camera very well, but it is substantially thicker. It weighs more. I can tell it weighs more just by it being in my hand. And you can even see that the clip point on it's ground back a little bit further than the Harbor Freight. It's probably because they were made in the exact same factory on the exact same mill, and that's just how they ended up getting ground. But other than the handles being very similar, other than the little neck piece up here is just a little bit shorter on the Maxam. Not sure why that is. Has to do with the caps that are on the bottom of here, because the caps that are on the bottom of the Maxam knife is made out of metal, whereas the one on the bottom of the Harbor Freight's made out of plastic. But as for a comparison between these two knives, that's about as in-depth as I'm going to get. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to, because I actually did a video on comparing old Harbor Freight knives and what it comes with in a survival kit and its sheath and whatnot. I also have a video of one of these things that I modified. I'll link both of those at the end of the video. Try to maximize watch time here. But let's go ahead, let's look and see what the Maxam has to offer. So, jump cut. Alright, so here we got the sheath, the knife itself. And I figured the first things first, what we should do is we should get this little end cap off. And, without tangling the TASA, the freaking the tether in there, and the freaking survival kit pops out of it pretty simple with it because it has a spring on the inside of it. But let's go ahead. Let's see if I can get the thing to do this, because you're pointing south right now. Let's see. Does this compass even work? Let's hold it up to the camera. Is it pointing north? It sure as hell isn't. Well, actually, it is. It is pointing north because you're pointing south. So I guess the compass does work. Kind of surprising. Let's set that over there. We've already looked at the knife. Let's look at the survival kit. Let's see, what do we get in the survival kit? It appears to be a writing utensil. Okay, I want these to come out. Get a pair of tweezers. You get a writing utensil, fishing line, a Band-Aid. Let's just dump everything else out. You get you get a needle. You get a scalpel blade. If I could do this without dropping everything out of my hand. You get a little bit of string. To go with that string comes a needle. If I can get it out of my freaking hand, comes a needle. You got your matches, which I assume are strike. Well, they're not strike anywhere. You have your heavily oxidized safety pin. It's not rusty. It just has oxidization on it. Strike pad. Choice of 2 reasonably sized fish hooks. And a couple of stinkers. So that's for the survival kit and that. However, the sheath's where the things get interesting. There's this little thing in here. You can think if it'll actually come out. Come out! Alright, it's coming out. And as you can see in there, it's got these little rubber tubes. It's got this little rubber latex tube in it. Now, let's actually I'll actually show you why it has that latex tube, but it also has another little thing in the end of it. Latex tube goes on here. You got your little holder right here, and what you have here is a wrist rocket. But that's not all the sheath has. The sheath has some cordage on it, albeit it's just glued on. So if you brushed up against something the wrong way, it would just come off. However, this sheath does have something on it that I like. You can attach it to a bigger utility pouch if you needed to, and it has a little strap to keep it on your leg, so it's not just sitting there dangling like that, which is always nice. And it appears to come with a mirror. Yeah, it has a mirror that has a little protective film on it for some reason. Not sure why that is, but it has a mirror on it. And last but not least, it comes with another knife. Which, another knife, especially one with a little gut hook on it, or bottle opener, whatever you want to use it for. Even though it's not really a wrapped handle or anything at all, having a smaller blade with a giant blade like that is actually incredibly useful. But anyhow, if you found this video somewhat coherent or somewhat interesting and you wanted to buy a $22 knife as opposed to a $9 knife, let me know down in the comment section. But anyhow, I'm just going to keep rambling here for a few seconds while the next two videos pop up on the screen, and hopefully you click on them before you click off the video. But anyhow, I'm Spaztastic. You're watching Spaztastic TV, and if you're interested in the Harbor Freight one and seeing what it had on the inside of it, click on whichever video on the one side is, or if you wanted to see how I modified one of them survival knives, well, half-assedly, click on the other one. Anyhow, thanks for watching.